Okay, so today I've got the Golf comfortline with the 1.4 litre in it. I just picked up from Europcar. I booked the Golf, last time I booked the Golf in Melbourne I was actually upgraded to the 5 Series, but unfortunately today they've just given me the Golf, and when I looked in the car park there didn't seem to be that much else interesting to look at. So we're going to start today by just showing you the outside of the car. So as you can see so far, this is the outside of the car. This comfortline comes with the 17-inch wheels on. I'm just going to take you around the car so you can have a look at the car completely, and then we'll jump inside the car and have a look at it. So there's the back there, pretty basic badging. The exhausts are really hidden, so just that plastic frame at the back there, like there's something to do with a lot of the Audi and VW group there. So we come around the other side here. As you can see, just fairly basic looking, but obviously a nice looking car. Then we'll come back around the front, and the standard sort of Golf look there. You can see with the standard Golf light. This one doesn't have any fog lights in it. As I said, it's one of the basic models. It's I guess the second most basic model you can get of the Golfs here. So with that 1.4 litre engine in there. But as you can see, it does have the front sensors on the front there still, and obviously it does have the rear sensors as well. So you still get a heap of different options there. So let's jump in the car and just show you some of the features in the car. Now, if you do like my videos, if you can press the subscribe button down the bottom there, just below the video, and subscribe. And also, if there's some things that I'm not covering in my videos that you may want to see that I'm not talking about, then please just comment down there and sort of request sort of what else you'd like to see in these videos. So now, let's hop in. What I'll do is just turn on the car and so we can have a look at the menu. So good size heads up display there. You've got a variety of different options here. You've got obviously the radio here, which then selects, shows you obviously the radio channels there, and the selection of FM, AM bands there. If we go back to the menu here, you've got your media for plugging in devices there. So if you've got an iPhone, it does have Apple CarPlay, so you can directly connect an iPhone there and connect to Apple CarPlay. This one comes with standard with a navigation system. It's pretty standard navigation system there. Looks reasonable. Got me to where I needed to go to, so I've had no issues with it. No freezing or anything like that. Traffic app, so you can have live traffic reports. So it can give you like sort of more of an accurate sort of time of arrival based on sort of the traffic and things like that. As if we have a look, it's obviously got your telephone, so you can make calls. It can connect to your telephone, view your contacts and things like that. A bit about the vehicle. So just looking at looking at how many kilometers you've driven, how many hours it's been driven, average speed there, and average mileage. So 5.5. These are I've driven a few of these, and they are generally really fuel efficient cars. So when I hopped in this one, as you can see, it's sort of full tank at the moment. It's showing 950 kilometers till empty, so that's quite impressive, as it'll only have a sort of small 50 or 60 litre tank in it. So if you just jump back here and just have a look at what other things that App Connect does. So this is for Apple CarPlay. It also does Android Auto and MirrorLink. So yeah, I'm not even sure actually what MirrorLink is. Then there's a VW medium control. So this is for if you've got a wireless LAN, I'm going to connect to that as well. You've got the other buttons here. So I think the app button's just there taking you back to the apps, and obviously we connect you straight into whatever app you had connected with it, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, or the MirrorLink app. And then obviously you got your shortcuts here, and then your buttons here. It's also obviously got the air conditioning down there, so it's got climate control in this one. If we just have a look down here, and we can see it's got the DCG automatic gearbox in this one, and you've got the start stop, which pretty much is standard on most cars these days. You've got the automatic handbrake, and then the automatic hold button. So if you take your foot off if your foot's getting tight or something and you're in traffic, you can just press that hold button, you can take your foot off the brake. Standard cup holders there. Take you back to the instrument cluster in front of me. You can see the odometer. You've got a range of different options that you can decide to view. So you've got your vehicle status, you've got your telephone, you've got your audio that you can view. You can view your navigation, and then back to like assist system, so warning around the car. So again, those extra safety features that some of these European cars have with standard, and it's pretty much standard on all these VW Golf models now. And then it's got back to the driving data and the vehicle status. So if we just have a bit of a look, so that's the driving data it's showing me. If we take it back to telephone, I'm not Paul, so I don't know whose phone it's trying to connect to, but it's not me. And then you got the audio here, so it's saying the Bluetooth isn't connected. Back to navigation, so just showing where we are. Assist system, so you've got your speed adjust, speed limit, your front assist there as well. And then you've got back to your driving data there. So what I'll do is I'll turn the car back off now, and then I'll just show you around the cabin of the car. So this is just, as I said, the basic model, so it does have the cloth seats in here. The stereo system before I listened to, it's as all European cars you expect. It's quite a nice system there. The good bass, you know, obviously if you pay a bit more you can get the upgraded one, but I think the standard one's more than enough. So let's just jump into the back seats here and then check out what the room is like in the back seats. Okay, so it's actually not too bad in here. It's actually got a fair bit of room. I'm surprised. I've got a bit of a gap there between my legs, and look, it's not much less room than you get in one of those mid-size SUVs. So it's probably a bit squashed here in the middle. So if I jump in the middle here, you probably wouldn't want to be in the middle. We wouldn't want to have 3 adults in here for a long-term trip. I mean, they could definitely fit in here, but you wouldn't want to be keeping 3 adults in here for like a trip that goes over more than 2 hours. So I'm going to jump out of the car and then show you the boot. So we'll go around and show you the boot and back. So for these VW Golfs, to open the boot you grab the badge and then pull it up there. So the boot is quite small. You can see there's not a massive amount of room in there, so probably 2 big suitcases and then you fill it up. You've got the 12-volt socket in there, and basically that's it. You can fold the chairs down from the top here. It's actually not really easy from this side, so there you go. But yeah, it's definitely not that easy from this side. When you fold it back down, you obviously get a bit more room. So if you've only got 2 people in a car and they have to carry stuff, you can do that. It's all manual closing, so no automatic button here for this model, at least anyway. So if we just close that, and then as you can see, obviously very clean lines because you've got the badge which you're using to open it, so not needing another handle there to actually open the boot. So yeah, that's the outside of the Golf, and what I'm going to do is then jump into the car and then sort of take it for a bit of a drive and just tell you what I think of it. Okay, so back inside the Golf, so I can now tell you what it's like to drive and give you a rundown of a bit about some of the other features in the car itself. So first things first, look, getting into this Golf, I feel it's a really easy car to drive. You know, obviously it's a small car, but you know, it's a very minimalistic car, so obviously it's very easy to find things in the car. Like, you're not sort of going around looking for things like where to start the car, doesn't need a key, doesn't need a key, you know, where's the handbrake, things like that. So it's all really obvious, and you know, as I said, it feels really light driving the car. Around bends it feels really agile, and look, it is sitting on a really good platform. So the Golf R, which some of you might know about, it's pretty much sitting on the same platform, and that obviously not as much sport suspension and things like that, but those who know a bit about the Golf R, take it around the racetrack and compare it, when comparing against the things like the A45 and the BMW M2 and also the Audi S3 and RS3. This one always came close to on top with the side of its handling, so it's obviously a very good handling platform, and sort of obviously the weight ratio and sort of how it's sort of the length of the car. Obviously, it all helps out with that. So just some other features about the car. Look, I think the little 1.4 litre turbo engine's a really good little engine there. You know, you more than enough power on tap. You know, obviously it's not a performance car. You know, it's not going to throw you back in your seat, but it's definitely more than enough power to sort of get you from A to B. And if you need to accelerate at any time you can get out of difficulty or something like that, you can easily accelerate without any problem and gain speed quite quickly in it. So I think it's a great little engine. And I think I touched on before the fuel efficiency of these cars, but you know, I haven't this car, the petrol gauge, I've been driving it for long, but the petrol gauge hasn't gone down. And you know, last time I drove a Golf like this, I was on over 400 k's and it wasn't even close to half a tank there. So I think they're very frugal as well, the engines. So just looking around the cabin here at some of the features, I can see the blinkers look very similar to my Audi. That I've got an Audi at home, and wipers there, so it's definitely been shared across the group there. This is, as I said before, one of the more basic models. So the inside of it, which I showed you before, you can see it's quite basic. I don't have even electric seats in here at all. It's all completely manual seats. One thing I don't really like is that when you look at the side of the doors there, it kind of looks quite cheap. So I remember like years and years ago when one of my mates had a Golf, when you touch the side here, you really felt like it was quality. Now it's just looking very plasticky, and you've got the mix of some cheapy fabric with the plasticky look there. So it's a bit, in places I think it's a bit cheap looking, but in general I don't mind the interior. You still definitely feel that it is a European car. I think it looks a lot more upmarket, especially just looking at the dash or area there, than say your Japanese or Korean cars, or even obviously your American cars as well that you get there. So I think it still definitely does look European. And look, the seats itself, I showed you them before. These ones are, again, the basic ones. They're fabric cloth. They're not really hugely supportive in there, and don't look anything too fancy. See if I can show you those again a bit there. Nothing special. In terms of other features to talk about in the car, you've got the automated folding mirrors, where when you lock the car, the mirrors fold for you, which is good in tight places. You've also got the keyless entry, so when you touch the doors, you can open them if you've got the keys in the pocket there. This model itself, it's got 15,000 kilometers on it. What I have noticed, and you probably can't hear it on the video here because I'm just parked at the moment, is from the left side there, you hear this weird, strange rattling sound, and the car's only got 15,000 kilometers on it, and I've got nothing in the side pocket there, so I would be a bit disappointed after owning the car for this car would be less than a year old now, and then only driven for 15,000 kilometers, and I already have strange rattling noise in there. But in saying that, I have heard with this Golf Series 8 model, there have been a few people complain about some nitty issues with rattling in doors and things like that before. So I'm sure it may be unique to this car, but I have heard that certain cars do have some weird, strange rattles that they can't get rid of there at all. As I said before, it's got climate control on it. Looking around the cabin, there's not any other features that really come to mind that I can really talk about here. As I said, the car, it is smooth. Power out of the little 1.4 engine, I would be happy with it. You know, it's not a performance car. If you want to get something a bit faster, you're obviously going to go for the GTI or the R, which are more performance-related models. But you know, for an A to B car is more than enough power. Smooth driving at low speeds, smooth driving at high speeds. As I said, the handling, I think it's a really agile car. The steering feels really light in the car, so it's quite nice, but you still do get that driver's feeling of the car. The gearbox itself, this DSG gearbox is really good. The only thing a word of warning, if you are thinking of getting this car, which I have heard, they may have fixed it up a bit in these sort of later models, but some of the earlier models, the DSG was having some major issues there, and I understand that it's around $13,000 to get that gearbox replaced, or very costly to at least get it fixed as well. So it's something that you probably want to keep in mind about it, but if you're going to purchase this car. But in general, I said the gearbox, the DSG gearbox is quite a good gearbox. Smooth changes, up changes, very quick to respond. When you want to put your foot on the accelerator, it quickly does down changes quite easily, and so very sort of smooth gearbox there. So yeah, look, in general, I reckon this car is a really good car to drive from A and B. You know, it's, as I said, doesn't stand out that much. You know, looking at it from the street, sort of looks somewhat basic, but you do get that European as VW, that European sort of a bit more stylish look than you would say if you went a Hyundai or a Toyota or Nissan or something else similar in this class. And I think the cabin still has that bit, even though it feels cheap in places. It feels a bit more upmarket in other places. But yeah, as I said, generally quite smooth. I'll be more than happy to live with this car. Generally, I like more powerful cars, but you know, if I was just going from A to B to work and then doing a weekend trip every now and again, that would be fine. As I said, I wouldn't, as I said before, in the back, I wouldn't put 3 adults in there on a long trip. But if you have like a small family, then I think this is definitely something that this is a car that you should look at. Good for hiring purposes. I think it's great. You know, you can fit in tight spots, don't chew too much fuel, and it's pretty comfortable to drive it here. But as I said, I've only got this car for a day, so I'll be giving this back this afternoon. Yeah, so I think that's about it for the Golf I've hired today. And yeah, as I said before, feel free to subscribe if you like the videos there. And if there is stuff that I'm not mentioning or you'd like to know more about the cars, please feel free to comment and let me know, and I'll be sure to make sure I mention that or talk about that or give my opinion on it in my next video when I do that next.